Hello, friends. This is Nox-Hardigan here once again, and we are playing Contra. The arcade port. Well, not port, the release. 1987 is when this one was released. It's developed by Konami. It had an arcade sequel known as Super Contra. Most of you guys played the ports that were ported to the Nintendo. Both great ports. Very true to what the originals were. Slight differences were like the levels were a little longer on the home console versions. The music was virtually almost the same, just slight different sound. Nintendo did a good job with that. The weapons are pretty much the same. The characters here are also the same. They use the same art style as far as like the fonts and the sprites. As far as like the title screens go, the end game play, of course, is going to be a little different due to the fact that the system, Nintendo, was 8-bit. Um, The colors are very vibrant and very attractive on both versions, if you ask me. Um, I personally never got to play this one in the arcade. Um, the only version that I played was obviously the Super, not Super Nintendo, but the Super Contra, and that one was available to me at my local bowling alley when I lived in Europe. My dad was stationed out there; he was in the army, and they had that one. Um, it was like unlike any game that I ever saw as far as like a runner shooter. Usually you were in vehicles. Um, in 1987 there was a couple of games similar to this. Not sure it was the same year, but some that remind me of it were like Kari Warriors. Um, and of course, those weren't side to side, but it was still like a very similar game. Two macho dudes running into God knows what and just taking out as much enemies as you can. I mean, that's what you gotta do. That's the object, just to blow everything up. Uh, no one's sacred. Well, anyway, without any further ado, let's get into this bad boy. Um, well, the first player I think is gonna be Bill. Yeah. The second player is always Lance. Um, but we know them obviously as Schwarzenegger and Stallone. I'm gonna put another credit there. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many credits you put in. You got to be aware of that, especially if you're playing the arcade version, because you do get limited continues. That's how they snaked you. That's how they had to get their quarters. I mean, they had to get paid, right? So, whew, close one. You know what I really like about this game is it's fast paced, it's gameplay, it's pretty fluent, the movement is solid, control is not an issue here, as long as the person who owned, say the game or whatever, like the arcade cabinet, took care of it. Um, I'm not sure if anyone has any local arcades still around in their neck of the woods. Um, I have this place down here called Diversions. Actually, there's a couple of locations. I think one might have closed down, maybe even two, but I know there's at least two that are still open. Um, they carry like the classics that you wouldn't normally find just anywhere. The good thing about Diversions is they got great homage to the arcade lifestyle, the way it was, um, and they use tokens there. And if you put like $2 in instead of getting 8 tokens, they give you 10, and so on. If you go higher than $2, like say $5, you're gonna get more. So that's really cool that they do that. Um, as you notice, the levels are virtually the same as Nintendo really did a good job with porting it. Um, Also, you notice that the first level was shorter. And I think that like with the arcades, they had to be because, well, let's face it. I mean, you're pumping in quarters. The games really couldn't be terribly long. Like a lot of games that I played that were arcade. If I managed to beat them, I noticed they usually only had like 5, maybe 6 levels. And I mean, I guess that sounds about average, but in like a lot of the home brews or whatever, not home brews, but the home console versions, they uh, they were longer. Stuff was added, and one good example of that would be everyone remembers. Anyone remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game? Well, when they ported that one to Nintendo, um, it was called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, and they uh, they added levels to that and made it longer. I guess some people think that's better, but to me, I think that's what most of them did anyway. But they made an effort to advertise that, so if you were privileged enough to be around in that era and those were your games, my God, why did I do terrible on this guy? Um, you saw the advertisement in the commercials where they said they added new levels and new challenges and new power moves that they would do. A lot of people said that was even kind of made it worse. It's like, because those side-scroller beat 'em ups, yeah, they do get a little redundant and this and that. These ones can too, but I find the shooters a little more, the replay value a little better. I don't know why. I guess because maybe they're more fast-paced. But I don't know. It's just something different. Things coming from all different directions and whatnot. Like normally with those beat 'em up games, you stop at a spot. You got to take out the people that are in that spot, and then once you hit about like 4 or 5 enemies, then the screen allows you to scroll and move on. This, you could avoid enemies if you want. You can keep going. You can play the dodge game. It really doesn't matter. Or you could just shoot everything in sight. There's no time limit on these parts, but there is time limits in the base area. I guess they kind of add more suspense to it by doing that. I personally don't like time limits, especially in arcade games, because, I mean, you're already pumping in quarters, man, so it's like, they're basically stealing a quarter from you when you run out of time. I mean, what if you're, like, dodging and kicking major ass and shooting everything in sight and just blowing up everything and dodging really well and, like, just knocking everything out the park, and the time runs out on you. That's just, like, that's always such a letdown. Yeah, these enemies that I have to shoot from the top, I'm not doing too well with. But the good thing about this one, see, there's a slight difference. Well, in this boss and this version of the boss than there is in Nintendo. Nintendo has those 2 tentacles swinging around, knocking you down, shooting little onion rings at you, and those. I think that made it more challenging. That boss wasn't so hard. I guess it had a little more variety as far as like things attacking you, but it wasn't as difficult as I made it out to be. Now the challenge of this level is, like I said, it's got a time limit, but it's also got things coming from the bottom, things coming from the top. That stupid electric fence that if you push forward you're gonna run into and it'll shock you and those bullets will take you out. Plus the targets are sometimes up top like this one, and that takes a lot of time from you. And it's really hard to dodge everything at once and speed through. So you really got to plan your method of attack. Thankfully, when you kill that last sensor, the bullets or any weapons that are coming at you, any enemy fire, they disappear. So if it's like just by the skin of your teeth, you should be fine as long as you take that sensor out. I always like it when the target's on the bottom because you can just speed right through it. I mean, who doesn't like that, huh? I'm just button mashing like crazy. Oh, 15 seconds. Basically, I gotta freaking die for it to last. So, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Holy crap. 3 seconds. Oh, right, the bullets didn't even disappear. They caught me on there. They didn't think I was gonna do it. So they pulled a cheap one on me. Okay. I'm really could use a side-scrolling level. I'm really getting fed up by these ones. I think that was my last man. Oh, at least I got one more continue here. So I'm gonna do my best. Oh no, we got those bubble throwers again. Well, they actually look like bombs here. And as you can see, they're like little glowing bombs, little orbs. And in the Nintendo version, they look like bubbles. And I always find those kind of annoying, like bubbles that kill you. Please, really? And they always have like strange patterns, so it's like really, they make it tough to dodge. And the thing about this boss right here, as soon as I kill one of these guys, uh, the sec the well the one that survives shoots the same exact bombs, right? But they shoot more of them, and they're harder to dodge. So it's like it's almost like taking out one isn't a good idea. So what I recommend is shoot one a lot of times until you think it's almost dead, then move on to the next one. That way you can go on and take one of them out, and then by the time you go to the other one, only take a couple more hits and you'll be dead. Don't just put all firepower into one of them. God, and I wish I had the spread cannon. Yeah, I don't think I'm making this one here. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Well, that there was Contra. Again, a retro classic. Straight out of just straight out of Compton with this shit. I mean, it's just a hardcore game. It's really dope. Great shooter. Good fun. If you never got a chance to play it, I recommend that you do. Find it on the emulator, or like get your like a NES Mini or SNES Mini modded. Most likely this will be one of them that's on there. If you're lucky enough to find an arcade that's still around, definitely jump on that. Have a lot of quarters ready, a lot of tokens, and you want to bring a friend to play with. Makes it a lot more fun and a little less challenging, but a challenge nonetheless. Anyway, like I said, great game, fun all around. If you have a chance, play it. And if you got a chance to play Super Contra, get on that one too. That one's just as fun. But this is gonna Nox-Hardigan. This has been Nox-Hardigan. Coming at you live with another Let's Play. So if you have a chance to check out any of my other videos, feel free. I'm on YouTube. My channel is dedicated to just retro games, video games in general, but mainly retro. I'll be placing this video on there. And until next time, I will say game on and peace and good gaming. Later.